Hey guys, welcome to the Regal Rhino Tutorials. I'm your host, Professor Benjamin Bush, and I want to show you a technique or an approach that I've really enjoyed using. A lot of people have been asking me lately with the advent of, certain dinosaur movies, Ben, how do you make a dinosaur in Rhinoceros 3D? So I want to show a little bit of the technique. So we're opening up Rhinoceros, yes, and really doesn't matter what unit you use because it's infinitely scalable. My favorite, small object inches. We'll start there. So first thing you want to do with your dinosaur is, it's a pretty easy method to follow. What you need to do is find some images of a dinosaur you'd like to create. We're going to bring them into Rhino. We're going to make sure that they are aligned in such a way that when you draw them, you can do what's called cross-section curve. And then once you have all those sections, you can loft the sections and have a three-dimensional shape. Today we're going to start with a Brachiosaurus, and if you're a giant dinosaur buff and I just butchered that Latin name, I do apologize. But what I have three images on my desktop. Let's see. Let's grab the front view first. So I'm in my front viewport. I'm going to go grab Surface Plane Picture Frame. This replaces, well for me, it replaces old school background bitmap and has a functionality that I really do enjoy about it. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and if I'm in my front view, grab my front view of the dinosaur. Now, all these images don't have to be the same size. They don't have to be the same dinosaur. Since no one 100% sure knows what they look like, it's open to interpretation, which is my favorite area of play. So let's line this guy up. If you work on Rhinoceros for any time or any approach that you can have when you're using the origin or the center of the C-planes is definitely a good approach to take. Let's check out our right viewport, and I will grab another picture frame. We'll grab my side, bring this guy up, and last one, my top view. Plain picture frame, it rhymes too. I got my front, I got my side, this will be my top. Throw that down there. Now, in the event that one of these guys are off, you can use your gumball, rotate it to appropriate angle or view plane. In my case, I'm good. I don't need this extra area. So one of the benefits of using the picture frame is I'm going to use a trim or split tool and get rid of this excess. It's not needed. It's kind of in the way. So allow me to split this object with this rectangle. There we go. Got rid of that. I don't need the square anymore. Anything else needs to be trimmed? Let's take my right view down just a bit more. More of a preference. You don't have to do this, but I find that it's helpful. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Excellent. All right. Next thing I want to check for is alignment. And you can tell we're kind of out of alignment. My right view and my front view are pretty close. I can get the scale to work a little bit, but the top view is a bit skewed. So we'll gumball rotate this guy. Grab the blue. If you hold shift, you'll snap to your cardinal directions. There we go. And then I'll just hold shift. I want to scale in all three directions. And I'll just kind of finagle and massage until I get what's pretty close. I'll bring this up in a second. I just want to make sure my length is correct. Doesn't have to be exact, but I would enjoy being close. Check my top view. If I can have my C-plane, or in this case my Y axis running through the middle of my dinosaur, that'd be great. All right, that'll do. What else I need to work on? Let's look at my front view. It needs a little bit of work. Let's see, how am I with width? I feel like I'm a little bit wide. So this time I'm not gonna hold shift. Just work on one gumball at a time. How's my height? To there. Shoulders almost meeting. I'd like it to be a little bit taller, so move up. There we go. Shoulder width, how we looking? I think we're acceptable. I keep on rotating, getting my best view on these objects, and I haven't quite got them yet. So here's a little addition that I like to do before jumping into the modeling phase, and it's one of the things you can do with the picture frame command. So let's grab my, this is my front view, no, my right view, excuse me. I'm going to go over into object properties, a little circle rainbow. You can go to material, it's the paint tube, and you'll get these basic settings. So let's go to TR, so transparency. I can drop this all the way out if I want to. Wouldn't be helpful, but I want it transparent enough I can see through it, but I can still draw on top of it. So that's good. Let's drop this one as well. Same thing, circle rainbow, properties, materials, we'll drop transparency. Good. One more. Too much, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back, y'all. All right. So we're in alignment. I can change these up later, but it would be very convenient is if I'm working on top of these surfaces, that these surfaces would stay put. So two options to make sure these things are locked down. The first one, and I think is the easier one, select them all, and I'm just going to lock them down using this little padlock. So this way, I can't touch them unless I right click, unlock it, or can hold down and unlock it. The other approach, a little bit more lengthy, you can go into layers, drop one in each layer, and then lock the layer down here. But I think we are sufficient. So let's get to the aspect. Now that we've done opacity, we've locked it down, I know they're aligned, we can trace what we have. Oh, you're not locked down? I apologize. There we go. Everybody's locked down. Let's, for the sake of craftsmanship, we will name this our right view. That way my lines will be red. I'm going to use a control point curve. And typically I would just start tracing. The thing about this command I'm going to use cross-section profiles, is you have to pick things that have a center line down them. Things can't veer off. So if you wanted to do a palm tree, that's fine. You can do like the tree trunk, but when you get to branches, things that branch away from the midline, we want to make sure we do those as a second pass or second type of modeling approach. So in this pass, the neck will work. I'll do like shoulders, central body, pelvic area, and tail, but I'm gonna leave the legs off because they branch off. So as well as the head, I'm gonna leave that off to later because I want to add detail. So in this pass, we'll do the neck, upper body, lower body, and the tail. Cool? All right, let's get to work. I'm not going to be hyper specific with all my points. If I want to come back and if I'm not happy with them, just modify my control points. I don't want near on, so I can go down to my O snaps. End will be sufficient. All right, when I get to the end, I'm gonna stop my line. I could continue and go back up. I'll say it now and I'll say it in a bit later. For cross-section curves or cross-section profiles to work correctly, you need a minimum of 3 curves to give the end result some type of volume or some type of space. But I'd like to use 4. I can use more than that, but to get started, I'll use 4. Let's see, how are we going to resolve this shape? A little artistic interpretation there. Around the chest, into the lower neck. And I want just a little bit of overflow. That way I can crop back if needed. All right. Quick little tracing of my right view. Everything's good. I have one curve on the top. I have one curve on the bottom. They aren't joined. What's our next? Let's go to our top view. What I want to do is get myself just a little bit of idea where my original curve was. All right, so it goes up to about where the nostrils are. Just want to give myself a reference point. Let's name this viewport top view. And let's get to work. I'm not going to do both sides, obviously. I can cut this down if I need to be. Cut down a bit. The reason why I don't need to do both sides is because I can just mirror after I get done. That'll give us a total of 4 curves. A little interpretation here. This gentle dinosaur's neck is not exactly aligned with the y-plane. So once again, I'm leaving out the shoulders, the forward legs, the back legs. I'm just doing neck to tail, anything that has a center line or central spine going down it. Okay. You might be, Ben, we're supposed to go down the y-axis. This didn't quite work that way. It's okay. I'm fixing to make a little adjustment that should let this be better. So I could come across this. I could do maybe control points on and scoot things over. I think a faster way to get this fixed, I'll go to transform bend. If I bend from, let's see, the front of my head to the tip of my tail. There we go. And let's drop. Once again, doesn't have to be exact, just a good gesture of how the body works. Let's see, what do we have here? If I do want to use all 4 curves along one another, it would help if they kind of ran in the same area. This would give me some really ugly outputs. So once again, I have 2 options on how I want to get this line to fit within this central spine area. And I thought of another one. I'll show you my favorite approach to getting flat curves to a curved area. 1, control points, that could work. 2, you could do curve from 2 views. The third one is, it takes a little bit more time, but I'm a highly visual person. So anything where I can see every step helps me understand the process better. So what I'm going to do, we could use a purple line. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go through the center of this entire body. So where do I think the spine of this dinosaur is? Or in this case, like, what's a central mass? Trying to keep everything about, 50% average throughout. Doesn't have to be exact, but somewhere close to the middle. And you notice I'm going to go all the way through, because in order for me to project on the surface, it needs to touch the entire surface. So that's why I've gone all the way through. Let's go to perspective. I'm going to use, I used to not like the gumball. I like the gumball a lot now. I'm going to drag and hold control. This allows me to extrude. Let's change this to shaded view so you can see what I'm working with. Great. Now just push this back. I'm going to project. Oh no, I broke history. Terrible. Doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do, I want to project this flat curve into this curved area. I might not have to do this, but just for visual sakes. You might be wondering, what viewport do you want to use? You just can't project in any viewport. For example, if I want to, let's see, curve from object, we want to project that object to that plane, it's going to miss. There's nothing for it to project upon. And I'm definitely wrong. And that's okay. Formerly, what you had to do, and what I still like doing out of habit, is I need to shoot this curve through something. It needs to interact with an entire plane. So if I project in the front view, there's nothing for it to project. Imagine it's going to move straight down the y-axis. It doesn't touch anything. Straight here. If it goes down the x-axis, it doesn't touch anything. But if we use the top view and we project that curve onto that plane, it has to project along the z-axis, and so it will come in contact with the surface that I made. So let's do this command again. Curve from objects. We're going to project that curve onto that surface. There we go. That's what I'm used to getting. So I can get rid of this original input. I can get rid of this extremely large plane. Let's zoom in a little bit. That'll work. I got 3 out of 4 curves. I want to mirror this across, and I'll do this in my top view. Transform, mirror. I'll let it use end. Do a quick checkout. So that side's good. That side is good. All right, so we are ready for cross-section profiles. Pick a new layer. We'll just call y'all cross-section profile. Blue layer. For my cross-section profiles, let's use the right view. And what I'm going to do is I'm asking these 4 curves to make a circle. So if I went from, let's choose a different view. If I go clockwise, it's going to go bottom, left, top, right. So I'll select the curves in this view. I'll create my lines in my right view. And then when I'm done, I'll come back to perspective. So here we go. Cross-section profiles. You go clockwise or counterclockwise, up to you, but you have to use some methodology and stick to it. So it's a clockwise, top, right, bottom, left, enter. And we will use my right view. And we're going to start just connecting the dots. Do I want my O-snaps on? Sure. You notice that I am turning as the neck turns. I feel like it makes the ISO curves later when we loft it feel a bit more natural. If you have areas of high detail, you want to drop lots of lines so you can retain that detail. If you don't need as much, don't give as much input. So we want to do everything as quickly, as simply, but as efficiently as possible. I'm going to zoom in on this tail. Let's get a bit more detail. And one little one. Great. I'll hit enter. And let's go look back at our perspective and see what we have. There we go. Made rounded sections all the way around. Just for your viewing pleasure, let's unlock these. Select them. Hide them. There we go. It's not bad. So I'll go about the business of lofting. I don't want to grab my red or my purple lines. We can hide them temporarily. Let's grab everybody. Will it give me what I want? Yes and no. What's good is that it's sequential, so I don't have it going to like maybe the 13th circle and then coming back to the 7th and then 8th. So they're all in the right order. But what I have right now is my seam, or think of it, if you were going to sew some fabric around a cylinder, you have to start and stop somewhere. That's what the seam's going to be. So right now it's, let's try natural. Yes, perfect. So the automatic one kind of gave me this little twist in here. It's not what I want. My natural option give me a much better option. So I'll hit enter. I can choose straight sections. Let's go with a normal. And let's try it loose. So at this point it's more aesthetic. Is it either loose or normal? Which one do I want? Alright, let's go with the loose. That's good. So I'm going to repeat the same process for the front legs and the back legs. And we'll see what we get. I'm going to reserve the head to the last. It's going to be my area of highest detail. So I don't have to do that one yet. And I'm going to use the same methodology for the legs, the front legs, and the back legs. So, guys, night-night. We'll come and visit you once again, but after I do the legs. Great. Let's turn you off and you off. And let's bring back our dinosaur. And let's focus on making these front legs, or front leg, because we can mirror it over. I think what I might do is, the first time you saw me align the viewports and then the curves worked out fine. This time what I might do is draw the outlines first, then align them secondly. So layer 4, let us name you for legs. And a quick lockdown. So there you are, front legs. Let's see what's happening. So the beginning's pretty easy, right? We'll travel on the outside, but this inside we need to make a little something up. It's going to disappear into the body, but it'll help us have some type of curve to run the cross-section profiles along. So if we extend over, we can cut back. If we don't extend over, then we have to come back and create things later. So we'll do extra work in the beginning. That way we don't have to do more work later. So we'll start from behind the shoulder. Not the habit of those. Let's keep it a little bit tighter. Good. Now notice I need 4 curves, correct? So we have one to the left and one to the right. And ooh, there's a little cut in here, isn't there? Let's see if we can replicate that. There we go. So I have one on the right, one on the left. Let's go to my right view. And let's start tracing. That's an interesting little phenomenon. A little bit off track, I can fix that. Halfway point. How should we go? There we go. So now they got these legs. I'm a bit worried that this portion, is it high enough? Yeah, that'll work out. Inside, I think that's appropriate as well. So now we need to align these curves. So remember this guy here where I stopped? I'm going to drop a point for visual reference right here. I'm going to move from this midpoint or the end to where this point is. So you could either use the move from over here, or we can just transform move, or you can type it in. There's a myriad of favorable options. How do we look? I think that that's suitable. All right, I'm going to unlock our shapes or unlock our images and see if that needs any more adjusting. So unlock. Guys, if you can go in the hiding, that'd be great. Not extinction, just hiding temporarily. Okay, one slight modification. This area needs to follow like what the bone would be, like once again your midline, where this leg is. So I'm going to use my approach again. Let's use a different color just for clarity. And I'm going to hold Alt. I don't want anything to snap on accidentally. And if we go all the way through, change object layer, clarity. Let's extrude it through. So I'm pulling with a gumball. Then I hold Control. Hey friend, come over here. And shaded. All right, so we need to project this curve and this curve onto that plane. I can do that in my front view. Curve from objects, project you and you onto this orange plane. Projecting, fantastic success. So let's get rid of what I don't need. You go by you and you. Nice. And we can go back into front legs. We can do our cross-section profiles, top to bottom, bottom to top. Doesn't really matter. And I'm going to use, let's see, probably a front view. I want to make sure I get this little detail here. Very good point. I need to select these either clockwise or counterclockwise. So curve, cross-section profiles. Let's do clockwise again. Top, right, bottom, left. And I'd like to go through all three. There we go. And I'll start bending this all the way down. That way my ISO curves are nice and pretty. Is there any area of really high detail? I think the ankle can use a little bit more. Let's drop another one closely to you. We flare out. I want to get this outside detail. And then just one more along the bottom. Great. Pretty close. So I put you and you. I don't put in the hiding necessarily. Let's name these extra curves. Right click. I want to change their layer. That way if I come back to green, they'll go away. Good. And we will loft. Surface loft. Top to bottom. I don't want to have that point because you can loft to a point. How are my seams? This is good. Let's see if natural's any better. I think it is. And let's do natural then. And I want to be consistent, so the first one was loose. Let's continue with the loose style. Great. What about this back leg? Let's put you into hiding. Bring back our images. So sometimes you can duplicate the front and the back leg and everything works all right. These have quite a bit different geometries. See, ankles are about the same place, knees close to the same place, connect to the body, hips a bit lower. We're going to try that same front view. I'm a little bit worried, but I think this side view might help us pull it out in the end. So we'll give it a shot. I can copy this from my front layer, but I won't this time. Same all back legs. Yeah. Let's get to the business of tracing. Once again, if I throw a little bit more than what I need, I'm good. If I don't have enough, then I need to add more later. All right, there's that halfway point. Let's work our way back up. Very curious about this back leg. We'll say that for the moment. And let's go trace our back leg. All right, stopping here at the halfway point. And if you forget to do that, that's okay. Just go ahead and finish out your curve. You can come back with a point or a line, and you can split it in half. All right, they're both drawn. Let's ask our dinosaur just to move out temporarily so I can see a bit better what's going on. Maybe, just maybe. Let's move. Transform, move. Center point to that center point. Once again, there could be a little bit better deviation here, so use that same approach. And let's jump into that layer. I'm going to hold Alt where I think this bone would go. It's pretty high. So what if I scale? Does that work? I think it does. Let's extrude through, then hold Control. Nice, and we'll project this line and this line in our front view. All right, let's get rid of everything we don't need. So you're out of here, you're out of here. And the ones that are perfectly straight and don't deviate, we don't need them as much. All right, by now you know the drill. We have 4 curves. I would like to extend these up, so the better idea, what to, because I can always cut down, If I did this initially, if I didn't do this additionally, we can go to my right view, and then I can do curve, extend curve by arc to a point. Let me make sure I'm inside the right layer. Extend curve by line, by arc to point. Just a bit more. Where do I think this would go? Okay. Keep in mind, I can always back these down later. One more thought. Do you think this should curve in a bit? I think it should as well. We'll do a little, just a little bit of a bend. Transform, bend. There we go. A little more natural. So it is time for cross-section profiles. Top, right, bottom, left. And I think this gives us the best chance of getting all the points together. All right, let's get these lined up. Start rotating so my iso curves will look good later. If I'm really worried about straight lines, when I pull, I can hold shift. Let me get some good detail so I can get the flaring out and the flaring in sections. Not so good. Put another one. I can delete that one that I don't want. So you. All right, it's ready. Let's take my construction curves. Just move you away. Good. Let's do a loft. How do we look? Natural might be better. And it is. It goes more from a center point. Keep it loose. How are we? All right. That works out good for me. So now we have these components. Let's bring them back together and see what we have. It seems I have my front leg, back leg staggered over one another. So let's move you to the appropriate spot. Good. Has some extra that I can cut off and I don't want. And I can bend the top of this so it fits. So I never want to delete work that I've worked on. You never want to erase, so to speak. So what I really want to do is continue working on the surfaces, but I don't want to get rid of the curves. A little fast way to make that happen is I'll select my surfaces. I'll copy and paste. Move them over. There we go. Thought I grabbed a curve in there. Great. So I could mirror over, but really, I'll make the modifications first, and then I'll do the mirroring. Seems like this guy needs a little bit of help. Let's cross-check them with my images. All right, it appears our front leg is pretty close. My back leg needs a little bit of help. So move it back about 1 foot length. Front leg can move up maybe a quarter length. All right, that looks good. We're realizing I haven't saved in a while. Save as download buddy 2. Keep my progress. And let's make some modifications. The first thing I'm going to try to do, I'm going to see if I can do some bends. Just have this upper part roll into the shoulder area. And if that doesn't give me what I need, then I'll proceed into cage edit. Let's bend this guy. I'm going to hold Alt. Don't really want to have snaps going on at this moment. Is an acceptable bend? Yeah, I think that works. Still gotta do something with this cavity. Let's see if I can try to bend it in my top view.
All right. We have more pull.
I don't want to bend the entire thing, just this upper section, so I'll focus the bend maybe from halfway up the between the knee and the shoulder and this top part. I need to refocus this. There we go. Closer, closer, closer. Exactly done with that? Nah. What about pulling control points? Which is definitely a viable option. But if I pull one way, I'd like to pull the other. Show my top view. And I can scale out a bit. I don't want to distort my object. I just want to give myself a little bit more room to work with. All right. I just need these guys touching, and really what I can do is just move you in just a smidge. All right, that'll do for my front leg. What about this back? Like, I have a lot of meaty goodness back here that I really don't need. So, since my green leg is suitable, use the same approach. Let's do a little bend. A little bit. Let's focus on more on the upper portion. And the upper portion. There we go. How did we look? Okay, better, better. Still have a lot of mass that I'm not really sure if I want. What if I take a cut at it here and then bend it in? So I'm just going to use a basic curve. There we go. Split my surface with a curve. Delete what I don't need. You know what? I can take just a little bit more off of that. All right, try this again. Split surface with a curve. All right, we'll give that a run. In the upper section. So I can pull it a bit forwards. Let's go to the appropriate view. Just the upper section. You come a bit forward. At this point, I think I want to move into one of my secret weapons. We're going to go to Transform, Cage Editing, Cage Edit. I like Bounding Box. World is good. How many points? 4, 4, and 4. That'll work. And we'll do global editing. So what it does, instead of having to pick all these individual points, I'll start picking just blocked sections. Alright, I don't want to totally mess this up, so bring some of that back. This section in the back needs to pull in some, and I'm just grabbing a few points and starting to massage them into place. Wonder if I can bring you guys back out, maintain some of that volume. Alright, and this little guy under here. I'll select everything, and then hold Control and start selecting what I don't want. Instead of making that adjustment, we'll grab part of the center line. What don't I need? That group, and just drag down just a bit. Want to make sure it's still smooth and flowing. There we go. So control points off. Done with that bounding box. Let's bring back my front leg. Whoa, no. I have too much things going on. Since I just have surfaces, I'll select everybody, Control. I'll leave these surfaces alone and gently escort those curves out of the way. Alright, so now that the left side of my body is good, I can flip it over to the right side. We can use a top view, transform mirror. Now a end would be beneficial. There we go. All right. Now the last section. How do we do the head? Same process. Save in progress. All right. First up, we're gonna trace the side view or the right view of the head. Now I got a little overlap, but I'm doing that intentionally. That way we can cut off what we don't need. It's an area of good detail. I want to be more precise. Let's see, do I want that neck gobbler or do I want that jawline? Well, let's stick with the jawline. And then we'll go into the normal neck. Alright. New layer called the head. What color? Yeah, let's go with some violet. Nope. Let's go on to our top view. And I'm aware that I can mirror it. We use this mirror this time. Drop both. Drop both into the head layer. for the moment. No, I can't really see those so well. Let's change this up. Turquoise. Yeah? No. Dark blue. I can work with dark blue. Let's align these jokers up. I'm going to move from your midpoint. Ah, yes, remember, you got to have 4. Since we're not worried about these right now, hi John, until I'm ready for you. All right, by now you know you want this run down the center line. It's gonna be a temporary file with a very visible color. Project you and you onto that plane. Great. Let's get rid of what I don't need. Yeah, we got a little bit misalignment. How can we fix this? I think I'm going to go to my control points. Wow, that's a bunch of control points. Since I don't want to mess with that many, I'm going to rebuild. Let's go with 20, so I'm still respectable. Drag y'all to the front. Now, if it's not exactly touching, that's okay. But let's go back to my earlier comment. You like to have 4 cross-section profiles to make this command work. So I have 1, 2, but this is not the 3 and the 4. So I'm going to use a point. I'll use a near. I don't think they're touching, and they don't have to touch for this method. So split you with the control point. Good deal. All right. You know what happens after I pick them clockwise or counterclockwise. Top, right, bottom, left. Enter, and let's start making our profiles. The first one I do want to be pretty precise, is about as close to the front as I can. This is going to be an area of high detail. And then less detail. All right. It's okay. Let me get rid of these curves that I don't need. You can throw them in that temporary file. But I really need are these guys. How do I select them without getting my other curves? How'd I do? Okay, let's get rid of that one. One more here. All right, I'm gonna put y'all on the head layer. Have a temporary layer. Let us loft. Nope. Natural. Yes. All right, let's take this guy and align it with our other lofts. I still need some work to do here, but I think I'm in a position where I can freestyle now. So I don't mind removing you from the place you were created. Let's bring back my other shapes. And this guy needs to be put where the head is. I'll hide everything else that I'm not going to be using right now.
Let's refocus. You
might think, Ben, this is quite the issue. It's not really. I could sink some more time on the face. I think the approach I do, I'd work with some control points. I might work with some cage editing. I might even come in and add a knot or two. But let's focus on more of a global approach. So what I'm going to do, I want to blend some of these areas together, like the transition between the legs and the transition between the neck and the head. If you've ever done the duck tutorial, you know you can blend two surfaces and have a nice smooth transition between the two. So we're going to use that same approach. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to section these two pieces. Once again, I'm trying to go with ISO curves. I think I might keep the section of the head and just kind of back the neck off some. So I'm going to split the neck with that curve, get rid of what I don't want. How are these two pieces going to line up? I have a little work to do. You see how this is more triangular and this guy's more circular? I'll pick part of the spine and raise it up some, which causes us to use some control points.
let's grab those up. Now we're looking a bit better. Deselect them. I'll look at you and you. Then what we're trying to do is keep a nice transition between pieces.
All right, that'll work. Let's do a blend surface. Oh dear, this dinosaur's got like a broken neck. That simply won't do. Seems like I raised it up a bit too much. We'll rotate you down. All right, let's try this again. Blend surf, you. Seems like that area is just a bit too big. I can fix that. Don't want you, but what I want is this transitional area. Let's just scale in some more, just to get the circumferences closer. All right. Everything okay? Nah. I feel like right after the base of the skull, some of these should come in a bit. But I don't want to lose where the neck is. So what else I need to pay attention to? I want a good transition right now. Let's see if we change this over to rendered. You'll see like a really hard edge between the two, and I really don't want a hard edge. I could use a radius, but sometimes I feel like radius is a little bit more finicky than I'd like it to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to back off both surfaces a little bit, and then I'm going to use another blend surface. That way I can have a smooth transition. And I'm going to use a command called curve from intersection of two sets. First set, second set. And as you can see, I got a little curve there. Now I'm going to try and see if I can pipe this curve. Pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it. How big? And this is how big you want that transition between one surface and another to be. And we'll play around with it, but okay, that'll do. And the approach has, I'm going to split both the body and the arm with this transitional area. Get rid of it. And would allow me to split. Got a little residual in here. I don't need any more. And you as well. And then we're going to do blend surface as well. So blend surface between you. Let's make sure I get the entire piece. That's my first segment, second segment. There. Much more attractive. I'm not going to adjust the strength of the pull between the two. There we go. I'll do us one more.
So once again, we want the intersection. We use intersection or intersection of two sets. First set, enter, second set, enter. I got that big curve, let's pipe it. Good, we're all around. I'm going to split the body and the leg with that area. Get rid of some of this residual. Anything else left in here? Yeah, I got one here. And then we can run blend surface once more. Everybody all the way around? Looks like it to me? Everybody? Great.
Nope. Missed a little section, so cancel. Try this again. All the way around. Good. That's our first segment. Second segment. Good. That's a good seam line. How's my transition? Pretty good. So I can go and do the same thing on the other side. The reason why I don't want to mirror per se is I can mirror with that pipe section, but I don't want to cut the dinosaur down the middle, because if I want to make some modifications later, it's a lot easier to make a modification on one surface instead of two halves being two separate surfaces. So I hope this has been instructional to you about how to make different organic forms. You can keep on adding layers and layers of complexity to your object. I just want to give you some ways to start using orthographic views, tracing, making 4 independent curves, and then joining those 4 independent curves with cross-section profiles. And then when you get those profiles, then you can loft. There's lots of flexibility and lots of different options. So thanks for listening to my tutorial, and good luck.